Media browser. Now, up here, there are some other libraries that you have to browse through as you are working. See how it says My Media? That's the stuff that we just brought in. Audio, that would be your iTunes library, which we're really not going to utilize very much in this class. Titles, though, we'll look at that. So you've got a library full of titles that you could possibly use. That's the text and all the, any kind of textual information that you're going to get inside your movies. Backgrounds, exactly what they sound like. Okay, you got a lot of nice flats. You got some animated ones. They exist in there for background decoration. Although you can use any still photo as a background if you wish. Okay, come on, get out of my way. Okay, and then transitions. Last but not least, we'll look at these as well. These are things you put in between different clips. You see these all the time on movies and TV, and we don't really think about them because we see them all the time. But you're going to think about them today. And so this is just your content here. This is all the stuff that you can put down in here in your movie. All right. Now, this is sort of important. This is sort of the hierarchy of where all your stuff lives. Okay. So this is a specific project and a specific event. If you remember when we first started up the program, we hit that little plus button to create a new project. You can have multiple projects. So if I do this, I could go back and make another one. You guys don't have to do that. I'm going to go back in here. But you have a library of separate projects. Okay? They all live inside of your iMovie library. Your iMovie library is here. It is going to contain all your stuff. All your events will live here. Now, an event is basically just a batch of imported stuff. So when we just imported all this stuff from these folders a minute ago from the server, think of that as a trip to the grocery store. So each different event is a trip to the grocery store. Or a box from Amazon if you're like me, because I get a lot of stuff from them. You'd be surprised. You get some good prices on different things like, spices and supplements and stuff like that. Anyway, I digress. So these are like your different trips to the store. We're only going to have one today, but the thing is, you could use different pieces from, say, some old footage that you have, right, if you want to. So you can navigate through everything that you have inside here. Now, what that did, I just want to tell you this before we go on too far. Everybody hit the little Finder button down here, please. So Finder, if you're not a Mac person, Finder is like the queen of the chessboard. Very important. It's your file browser. So I want to show you where all the iMovie files live, because they all live in a very specific place. And you guys know about this a little bit because we had to look at that. So actually where they live, I wish this was easier to get to. Unfortunately, it's not super easy to get to. Let's see. It's in the movies folder. And it used to always show up over here in the favorites list, but it doesn't for some crazy reason now. So what actually you'll have to do is go up here to Go at the very, very top left. And then go down to, you want to go down to Home. And inside Home, there is a Movies folder. Double click that. See this guy right here? Everybody see that? That is... You don't have to double click it. That is your iMovie library. Everything we're doing today is inside here. That's a plus. That's a pro. There are cons. But the pro is it keeps it all stored nice and organized for you in one place. If you want to take it with you, this is what you need to go for. This is the kitchen. The whole kitchen. Okay? And it can get big. It stores everything inside. It's a package file. It's a special kind of file. You can open it up to show the contents. You guys don't need to do this, but all your stuff lives in here. So all your original media, all your edits, all your projects, everything lives inside there. Okay? Just something I want you guys to know. Final Cut does the same thing. This is an Apple thing. iTunes does this. Photos does this. GarageBand does this. They all do this. It's okay. It's not, I like it, but it's just nice to know where it is. And they don't explicitly tell you. You know, you could be in here and like, okay, well, I need to go to a different computer. How do I move my stuff? Well, that's what we just looked at. So, does that make sense? Okay. I take silence as a huge yes. Like, if I don't hear anything, you guys are telling me, yeah, we get it, go on, we're ready to move on. So, if I go too fast and you don't get something, this is my disclaimer, I say this every class. I'm going to keep going unless you tell me that I need to stop and slow down and do it again. There's no shame in that. There's absolutely no shame in that. And conversely, if you do miss something and I've gone on and it's 15 minutes later and then you tell me that you're 15 minutes behind, I will make fun of you for that because you didn't tell me. So that's your bad. Okay. All right. Sorry, that's how I roll. All right. So this is Media Browser. Okay, down here, this is where we're going to be doing a lot of stuff. This is the what would you call what you mix the cake batter in? The dish, the bowl, whatever that would be. This is the mixing bowl. Yep, this is the mixing bowl right here. And there will be an oven, but that doesn't come till the end. And then up here in the top right is your viewer. And you used to, yeah, it's hard to do. The people at Apple truly are geniuses, I must say. You can click and slide that to like kind of expand and kind of change the orientation there, but it can be a little challenging to do so as well. But the viewer here, click on some of your thumbnails up here. The viewer shows you as they're going to appear in your movie. Or in your your process of making the film. Okay. It's also in iMovie. It's not like this in Final Cut, but in iMovie, it's also where you're going to do your editing. And when I say editing, not necessarily cutting clips and chopping the film, but visual editing, such as color and contrast and brightness and darkness and all of that type of stuff. Speed will be done up here, and we'll be playing around a lot up here. Okay. You can also, you get some controls down there. You can crop, you can do all kinds of edits up here. Okay? And that's really the only 3 zones that you've got inside the basic program. So it's pretty simple. So we're already on page 8, y'all. Any questions, though? I do like to stop every few minutes for a question, okay? All right, that sounds good. Sounds like everybody's going along nice and smoothly. All right. We've already looked at all of that. We are ready to actually put some stuff down here. So it's really easy, but there's a couple ways to do it. So I'm going to take a moment just to show you all of those in turn. All right. So the one way to do it, there's a little plus sign down at the bottom. If you click that, it hops right down. Okay. You can also click, hold, and drag. Go ahead and pull a few down. You don't have to pull all of them down, but if you did want to put 2 in, you can select 2. Check this out. Everybody watch my screen real quick. If I go somewhere down here, I click and hold the button. See how you can do that. Okay. You can hold down Command and click multiple ones and bring them down. All right. Now I've just brought down photos so far. For video, let's look at that. So for video, you can bring the whole clip down just by clicking and dragging or hitting the plus sign like we had just looked at. Or if you just want a portion of the video, this is where it gets tricky with your clicks. So be very observant here. If you say I just wanted the end of this clip, I've got it selected, so that's the first click. And then if I click again, I'm sorry. you want it unselected. And then if I go in here and I click, well, okay, it's different than Final Cut. I apologize. I use Final Cut so much, it's got like these little, it's very similar, but it's got these little differences and it throws me off sometimes. I apologize. If you pull these ends in like that. Now, this can be good if you've got like a long clip and you only need a specific part. You can also do it down here. So just drag that down for a moment. You can also do it down here, but sometimes, you know, it's easier up at the top. 6.5 dozen, whatever that is, 7. Yeah, baker's dozen. I don't know my old sayings so well. I like to butcher them, you know. All right. Now we need to look down here at the timeline. Now that we have some content, I need to show you probably the most important, setting that you can control down in the timeline, and that is the zoom. So over here in the top right, there is a little slider kind of in the middle, not the top right, but kind of the middle right, all the way to the right. Does everyone see that? All right, that is uber important. This is your zoom. A lot of times it's going to be, you're going to want to see it from far away. You're going to want to be way back looking down on it like this. And sometimes you're going to be doing some very specific edits just a second apart. You're going to need to be very zoomed in. And the clips stay relative to their length time-wise, as you guys can see. So when you pull out, the long clips get shorter and shorter and shorter. The short clips get really short. And when you zoom in, they all get longer. There's also a way to do that up here in your events browser, although it's not as commonly done, but it can be, just depends. Up here, you can go here to where it says clip size, this little gear in the top right here. There's a little gear, Richard Gear. Click on that, then you can adjust the clip size. That's literally how big your thumbnails are. So, you know, if you don't see so good, that might help. Although these nice big monitors are going to help you a lot for that anyway. But. And then zoom is what we were just looking at down in the timeline. If you draw that out, see how much bigger that one got because it's 3 minutes long. When I drag the slider to the right, it gets more and more large due to its relative size compared to the other clips. Now, photos. How long are the photos? What do you guys think? Oh, he saw right around my trick question. He's like, Yes, they're completely subjective. It's as short or as long as you want. I think the default is 4 or 5 seconds. 4 seconds. So a photo, you can have it up forever. You can have it up for like just a fraction of a second, like in Fight Club. So really, whatever you want with photos. Audio, again, it's on a timeline. Now, all that said, y'all, you can do slow-mo, you can do fast, we'll look at that. So you're not bound to the basic time. You can do different things with that, within reason, of course, all right? So just think of all that as different amounts of ingredients you can include in your cake. I'm sorry, I love my analogy and I'm not leaving it at all, okay? So, and we'll even have frosting and stuff later, you know. It's gonna get fun. All right, so that's a little bit about putting them down in here. One last thing, you know, as I guess general users, you may not do this a ton, but you can search for your clips. So if they had a file name, now these are all just like a number or something, but if you had named your files, you can look for them there. Also, you can favorite things if you right click on any of them. And I do use this sometimes. As you're going through, you could say, oh, I definitely want to use that one. Hit the favorite, and a little green line appears on the top. And it's the same in Final Cut too. And then you can also reject them, like, don't want to use that one. It just sort of helps you sort them. Just a culling. Maybe that bread's bad. You're going to go feed it to the ducks or something. Quack, quack. Okay. Down in the timeline, you're going to notice that there's this blue stuff underneath the video clip. What is that stuff? Anybody know?
Sound.
Yep. Do you know the proper specific technical term for it?
Audio.
Closer. It begins with a W.
Wave.
Yeah, waveforms. Yeah, she's too late. Sorry. Yeah, if it's more than 15 minutes, we generally don't. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. And maybe she was just looking in here. Let's hope that's all that was. Yeah. She didn't try to open the door, so. Waveforms. Now, you can also control volume here. There's a horizontal line that's sort of like it represents your volume level. You can drag that up and down. And actually, let's go ahead and play around with that a little bit here. The vertical line right here. Okay, anywhere you click, notice that vertical line. See where I'm clicking? Above the clip, not on the clip, above the clip, below the clip, above the clip. When you click on the clip, yeah, it goes there, but it also selects the clip. You may not want to do that. So I like to click above. Anybody know what that vertical line's called? I love this terminology. You guys are going to love it. A lot of terms here. All right, anybody remember VCRs? Think back to your VCR now. Anybody got any idea? There's two words. First begins with a P, second begins with an H. All right. I'll help you out a little bit. The playhead. It's the playhead. It is a marker for where you are in the film. It's what you're seeing up here in the viewer. That's your playhead. It's where you're at, right? It's also, if you make cuts, it's where it's going to make the cut. So it's your position. It's the "you are here" on the mall map sign, okay? You are here. And you can click wherever to move it. Beware that where you do click is where it's going to go. You really can't not do that. There might be some kind of function that you could use to do that, but I'm not aware of it. Also, when you hit play, and I want to tell you guys, what? No sound? What the hey, man? Dude. I don't know why that's going on. I'm going to have to look into that. Do you guys have sound? Do you guys know where the sound buttons are?
I do.
Oh, I think I know what's going on. Here we go. Now I got sound. It was trying to go through the HDMI. When you're doing this, you know, here in the library, you're probably going to want to have headphones on. But here in class, it's okay. You can play it. I want to tell you the best hotkey in the whole program. You guys know what hotkeys are, right? Just quick shortcuts. Instead of going up somewhere and clicking a button, you just hit something on the keyboard. Spacebar is play and pause. I want everybody to start using that. So get that other hand up there on the keyboard. We work with two hands in this class. It's way more efficient, I promise you. You gotta just trust me on this. Put that other hand up there. And I'm even, see, left-handed mouse user, so I'm not left-handed though. All right, guys. So play and pause is really nice with that. Those are some of your basic controls. You can also control them up here if you wish. Now, if you want to arrange things down here, you can drag on both sides of just about any clip. So if I only brought down a portion of one of these clips here, so let's say I did that little thing that we were looking at before, and I only grab the beginning of this segment, I put it down here. The rest of it's still there. Check it out. Like I can resurrect it, like Game of Thrones style, and bring it back to life. You're going to get a lot of analogies and references. I think it helps you remember stuff, but that's me. You know, it helps me anyway. It's kind of like mnemonics, but nerdier. So, also, you can rearrange stuff in here. So, just select one, click and hold down the button on it, and point where you want it to go, and then let go. Here's my suggestion with that. I'll do it again. Say I want this in front. Don't let go of that mouse button too fast. I'm still holding my mouse button. See, now see how I wanted to wait till it did that. The blue. Blue is what you want. It's like, this is where I'm going to put it. Yes. There. Okay? So it's pretty easy to reorder stuff. While we're on this, for some silly reason, Apple, in its infinite wisdom, decided not to put a blade tool in here. It's in Final Cut, and it's awesome. You can still cut clips, right? So if you needed to cut something, just put your playhead where you want to make your cut, and then it's up here under Modify, and then Split Clip. Command B for blade tool, but they didn't put the blade tool in there. Oh no. Click that, and it chops it in half, and you have two separate pieces. All right? And then you could have that part at the end if you want. Also, though, look, I brought it back to life. See, he's like, you can raise the army of the dead over here. Now,
Does Apple use like Control Z?
Command Z. Good question. Yep, it's all up here. So edit right there. Apple's pretty cool about actually showing you your hotkeys. So actually, now that you bring that up, it's really good that you bring that up. Some of the big ones are right here. Copy and paste. Command C, Command V. Just like, it would just be Control on a PC. Select All's Command A. Lots of hotkeys. They're fun to learn. Some are going to help you a lot. The biggest one is space. Play and pause. And I think, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, like in Final Cut it will, yeah, okay. You can literally, if you use the arrow keys, left and right arrow keys, you can go frame by frame. One frame back, one frame back. Every time you hit the arrow key, see how it's barely moving right now? Can you guys even tell it's kind of moving? Not much, but it is. It's a photo, so it's hard to tell. Let's look here. See? So you can get precise. You're going frame by frame. So with traditional film, it's each a cell. It's a photo that's taken on a piece of film. Digital photography, it takes a digital photo, and you're just looking at a ton of digital photos lined up. So you can go one by one on there. It's pretty nice. Let's see. Last but not least, when you want to delete something, you don't want it here anymore, it's the backspace key or the delete key. So it's called delete on a Mac, but it's where the backspace key would be. It gets rid of it. But here's the good news, and you probably already guessed it. What if I want to bring that back? I can bring it back. I can bring it back. It never dies. Never dies. It's invincible. It's unkillable. Now you could get rid of it up here if you want, but technically all your raw materials, they all stay up here unchanged. You only change them down here. So it's almost like you have an infinite gallon of milk. It never runs out in your fridge for your cake making. You can make a lot of cakes. All this stuff down here, of course, is going to be in limbo until we bake the cake, right? We don't have a movie yet. We have a project. So I can't, it's not easy for me to send this over to you, you know, like, hey, here you go. Here's what I got. You got to get to the next step. Okay, that's basic editing. Does everybody feel comfortable with how to chop stuff up down here? Because that's super important. You definitely want to be able to do it. We haven't gotten to transitions and titles yet, but they live down here as well. So everything down here is like a little component. It's like a little chunk. It's a thing. And you can select it by clicking on it, and it highlights in yellow. They're all little pieces you can move around on your chessboard of movie. Okay? Also tells you how long it is up here, so, and where you are. So I'm 10 seconds into a 1 minute 15 long clip. Next, we're going to look at some editing, and that'll be fun. By the way, I am going so not with the handout, so just bear with me on it. I promise, though, my way's better. But all the stuff that I'm talking about is in the handout somewhere. I just kind of use it as a thing to make sure I don't forget something. But I go in a slightly different order because that's just how I roll. Okay, so we're going to be looking up in the top right. Let's take a photo first. So I want you to select a photo that you've got down in your timeline. And what's going on with these photos? Have you guys noticed this? Why is it doing that? Did you see that?
Yeah, it's zooming in and out.
Yeah. You know why? You're about to find out. So let's click one here. And we're going to be hanging out up in the top right from now on for a little while. And I wish I could get this bigger, but it's not letting me because it's... Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Wait, could you hit pause for a second?
Yeah? I mean me or you?
You.
I'm paused, man. See, I'm not... Do you need me to wait for you or something? Or?
Yeah.
All right, I'm holding. What's not doing anything? It's like, it means nothing to me. It could be anything.
I think I'm clicking into a file that you want.
Okay. Well, we'll get you straightened out. It's cool. We're in no hurry. We're way ahead of schedule.
That's what I posted on the basics.
Here, go ahead and minimize that. Oh yeah, that's right. You didn't have any photos, did you?
Mm-hmm.
Double click that. And then get the photos. Yeah. Here's what you can do. Let me just do it real quick for you. Grab all them dudes and just drop them in there.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome. I like medium-ish small classes because they're just easiest and most fun. I don't know. They're not easiest. They're just the most fun. All right. So I'm just going to go through these one by one. I'll try not to throw too much bias in there, but so the first one is enhance. This is auto button. And darkened it up a little bit. You can turn it on and off. You're putting the computer in the driver's seat here. All right. There's that. Then there's color balance. So we click that one. That's the first one, sort of like the, not quite yin yang up there. And if you go to auto, again, it'll do an automatic, which can work. It can be all right. But if you want to do manual, that's fine. It's very understandable. Match color is something where you can make one clip look like another. We're going to do that one in a minute. Does everyone see this one down here? This way too bright one? It's included because it's included on purpose because it is a little off. So we're going to work with that one in a minute. We'll get to that match color. Click white balance, and then you can actually sample in here for your white balance if you want to do that. You sample on whatever you want to be pure white. So click on different things in here that are really bright and white, and notice how it changes the color cast a little bit for you. Is everyone seeing that? Now these pictures were actually taken by Aaron, and they were taken with the camera we have here in the studio that you guys can borrow and use. You can do that way. Just hit the check mark to go on, right? You can also do a skin tone thing. This is probably more appropriate when we have a close-up of a person. So it's not going to really be easy to do here, but essentially that's the idea is you take your sample. I wouldn't probably do it that way though, but that's me. Now, if you don't like what you've changed, there's this reset button right there. Wouldn't that be nice if it was in real life? There's a reset button there. That's going to be the, well, we'll get to that. The reset button there. Reset all will reset everything. Just a regular reset will just reset whatever you're specifically looking at then and there. So let's go to the next one, color correction. All right. This is a fun one. I really like the interface that they use here. This is your levels. Has anyone ever edited photography with a histogram before? Kind of understand your brights, your shadows, your midtones, and your highlights. That's what this represents. So you have shadows over here, you got your midtones in the middle, and you got highlights on the right. So as you start to adjust these, you will affect the overall appearance.
Does that just work on photos or video too?
All of it. Video too. Totally. It just does the same thing to each little photo in the video. Yeah. And you've got saturation over here. How bright the color is, how colorful it is. That's pretty understandable. And then you got temperature over here. Cool versus warm. You know, some programs have tint, which is green to red or red to green, but this is a blue to yellow. And of course a reset button. Next is cropping. And this is where we get to that interesting phenomenon that we observed earlier when we watched the actual clip. The zooming that was going on is something called the Ken Burns effect. And I don't know if Ken Burns had some sort of like blood pact with Apple or something to get. I don't know. Ken Burns is pretty awesome. Have you guys ever seen Ken Burns, The Civil War? Or any of his, I mean, he's in World War II one, what was it? The War, that was really good. He's famous for this. I'm sure he's not the first person that did it, but what it is, it's a zoom pan. And in a lot of his old documentaries, it makes it a lot more interesting to watch than a still frame while someone's narrating. It's an old Civil War, oldie time photo, you know, like the ones you get at Gatlinburg. And it's got a zoom going on in it. And pan at the same time. So basically these boxes, you can click and drag around and you can adjust their size because it's both zoom and pan. And you can tell it where you want it to start and where you want it to end. So I've seen some like, we could start this out on this lady's head. I know, silly, right? And end up here in the sky. All right. Now, the longer the clip is, the longer the transition is going to be. So that's what's going to determine how fast it's going to go up there. So in this case, what I just did, it's going to go fairly quick. Okay, now check this out. If I made that photo a whole heck of a lot longer, look, it's still going, but wow, it's taking its time. We're going to make this trip. We're going to do this. It's going to happen, but not yet. And you guys have seen this before, mostly in documentary film. If this was in a Hollywood movie, well, they'd never hire the director again.
How did you change the speed of it?
Just by the length of the clip.
Oh.
You can do it in video as well, but you're kind of stuck with how long the video is. But with a still photo, just be as long or slow or as fast as you want. We'll go back up here to that one. I'm going to take it back down to a manageable length of time, like about 4 seconds or something. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Otherwise, you can crop manually if you wish. So crop to fill is just going to fill up the whole screen. Notice that they're different aspect ratios. You probably noticed, that the modern world is widescreen now. I try to remember this all the time when I'm shooting video on my cell phone, that I might want to turn it sideways if I want it to look better on YouTube or something like that. Otherwise, you got to crop it. When we hold our phone cameras vertically, it's in like a vertical frame. You want to bear that in mind. It's okay to have the black borders on the outside, but you're going to have black borders on the outside, right? So you may want it cropped. You can really crop it anywhere you want. It's nice, it keeps your proportions and your aspect ratio the same no matter what. And then fit, kind of put it all in there regardless, so you've got no crop going on. Those are your options. Also here you have the opportunity to turn things around and upside down. Got the rotation buttons, the rotators in there. And next is stabilization. Again, let's wait and actually we'll have to wait and go to that in the video, and volume will have to wait and go to the video, and noise and time. We'll get there. This last one here is filters. We can do filters on both photo and video, and we can also do filters on audio as well. If you click over here, see where it says none there? On clip filter, you have all these different filters that you can choose from. And they just have different pre-made settings. Has everyone in here used Instagram? No? Do you have an iPhone?
I do.
Have you ever played with the filters that are in the edit on the iPhone menu? It's the same kind of thing. It's just different pre-made. You can do all these you can do most of these custom if you want. Not all of them. It's a little challenging to get some of the distortion and the blur in there. Final Cut gives you even more control over that. I'm going to hit cancel. And then there's audio. It's not going to apply here, but we'll look at it in the film. Last but not least, there's an info panel. It's going to tell you the name of the clip and the date. And it's going to tell you the length and the duration. Any questions on any of that? That's a big chunk. Let's look at a video and the stuff that you can do there real quick. So we got a video here. This is a nice picture. I'm going to bring that picture down because this has got a nice color cast to it. And this one does not. This is what happens when you got too much sun coming in your lens. Kind of common sense. I think you guys know about that. We know about color balance, but let's look at match color. I'm going to click match color. And it automatically picked that one for me, which is kind of nice. So I click on that. Wait a minute. Try that again. Skim to a frame you want to match and click to preview. There we go. It helps a little. What do you guys think? Not all the way, but you can kind of see how it helps. It's a start. It can be helpful if you've got a lot of photos that all have the same thing wrong with them. You know, you shot them at night, they're a little dark, you need to brighten them up, stuff like that. Click the check mark when you're done. You can, of course, manually, we'll try to manually repair this one as well a little bit. It is never going to be perfect, but we can help it for sure. All right. That's match color. Color correction, we can definitely do some stuff here. One thing we need to do is turn down the heat a little bit here. Contrast is pretty good. I'm going to turn that down a little bit too. I might even enrich in the shadows a little bit. It's going to be tough because it's really washed out. And you don't want it to look too artificially dark. There's a lot of photo editing type skills you're going to use here. Color looks good to me. Temperature rather really looks okay. It's mainly the brightness, darkness. And again, there's only so much you can do. You just have to kind of get it to somewhere you're comfortable with. It's never going to be perfect again. All right, let's look at, so we've looked at cropping. Notice that you can do kin burns in a video, but it's going to be set to the length of the video, okay? I'm just going to leave it on crop to fill. Stabilization. This wasn't a very shaky clip. It's not terrible. Now I'll tell you something about stabilization. Before you hit that checkbox, this usually takes forever. It really puts a lot of stress on the computer system resources and the processing power. Oh, I kind of want to try it on these new computers. So just go ahead and check that, and let's see how long it takes. Now, if you do have something really shaky, it can help. I've had mixed results with this tool. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it hurts. Now, let's see what it did. Let's see. Yeah, it kind of takes it out. Sometimes it'll crop your stuff, though. You know what I mean? It'll cut out some of the outside. So just be aware. It's there. You can try it. Rolling shutter, you're probably not going to have a problem with that. But if you do, God be with you. Let's see. Rolling shutter is weird. This is rolling shutter. You'll know it when you have it. This is a commercial. Make glove in it. Make interrupt in my class. Okay, here we go. That's what a fan looks like when I look at it. What about you? I mean, just depends on how much LSD I had that morning, I guess. But I mean, look at that. That's rolling shutter. It's a phenomenon that happens the way...
What's up? I'm Destin.
No, we don't care.
It goes from the...
He's showing you some examples, though. This is probably a really good video.
About in the book that I'm...
It's a phenomenon that the way a digital camera processes imagery, it starts at the top left to the right, then back down like a typewriter, and it analyzes stuff like this. And for some reason, because of that, the zeitgeist in the machine, it can give you that rolling shutter effect. It's just a strange phenomenon in the way a camera works. I don't know how well that would help because I've never had the opportunity to try it, but it's there. And you guys got to learn about rolling shutter. You may see it, I've seen it on YouTube videos sometimes. It can also happen when you're panning the camera on a moving object. So I've seen it before. Fortunately, I haven't really ever encountered it when I've done video myself, though. Okay, next, volume. Of course, you've got auto. You've got mute. You've got volume. Notice that when I do this right here, it's doing the same thing down in my timeline. Remember that? Down the timeline, those peaks and valleys. The waveforms. Lower volume of other clips. I guess you could do that if you want. I don't do it, though. We don't really have volume. I don't have volume in other clips, so it wouldn't really matter. Okay, noise reduction. This sometimes might help you if you've got a lot of hiss and pop or anything going on in the background. Here's a way to compare. Make a copy of it. And now I'm going to do it to the original here. Let's see what we can do. Reduce background noise. Let's crank it all the way up. Let's see what it sounds like. Sounds really tinny. Original. Yeah, I like the original better. Again, you can play with it. If you do have audio that, well, first of all, anytime you're getting audio, and audio is the important part, such as when you're doing a speaking part, narrative, any kind of audio going on in there that is important, needs to be audible and understandable, try to get the best sound you can get in whatever way that you can. If you're interviewing someone next to a waterfall, try to get the mic close to them. Google it, see what kind of tricks you can use to try to help that out. If you don't have any choice, you can't go back in time and interview this person anymore because they passed away or they live in another country or something like that, there are some things that you can do to clean up how it sounds, and iMovie is not the program that you use for that. So if you do need that kind of help, talk to us. But iMovie is not going to be super helpful. You've also got equalizers. I think these can help. Automatically, it's on flat. Ideally, it would let you edit these individually, but again, it's not going to, because you've got GarageBand for that. You could do that in GarageBand. You can totally separate audio out from your video and edit it in a program that is more apt to deal with it than iMovie is, and then put it back in iMovie. That program being GarageBand or Logic or Audacity for that matter. So you got options beyond iMovie for sure. Speed. Everybody's ready for that, right? Speed. So normal is what you're going to typically encounter. You can do slow-mo, fast, freeze frame, or custom. So if you do slow, whoa, look what happened to your clip. 25%. Whoa, 50%. Your clip is going to adjust its size and its length based on your setting. Okay. The little turtle means that it's in slow-mo. You can also drag it. You can drag it and just do a custom now. That's kind of neat. Do you see how I did that? I grabbed it right up here in the top right. Anytime it's a turtle, it's going slow. If it's a rabbit, it's going fast. It's going to do it to both your audio and your video. And it's the end of the game in Super Mario Brothers. We gotta go before we die. End of the level. Speed up. Japan on speed. Lots of sugar and caffeine. Almost sounds like bluegrass when you speed it up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, let's listen to that again. Do-si-do and drag your partner around and around. Okay, so that's speed. Freeze frame is just going to stop it in a specific spot. Again, iPhones do all this stuff. Instagram does most of this. It just doesn't have the same interface. You can reverse it, have it play backwards. You can have pitch preservation. You probably do want that if you're going to be starting and stopping stuff. If in this case though, I want to reset that because I don't want to sped up or slow down. I don't even need that. I don't even need that kind of trouble. All right, and now we'll have a little bit of fun. You guys will like this. You got the same filters basically as you had before with the still photos. Get different looks for it. So I do sepia, so it looks like old-timey. But the fun will be in audio. So you click that audio effect. Some of these are really fun with vocals, right? That's a dubstep version, okay? You got all these echoes and, oh, wow. Stalled my computer out. But you guys were supposed to be super fast, man. It's supposed to be a supercomputer. Whoops. Now, programs will crash on you, obviously, and sometimes iMovie will crash. The good thing about iMovie, I didn't really discuss this yet, it's constantly saving. You don't ever have to hit File Save. It automatically saves. That doesn't automatically export it for you, but it saves it in that iMovie library folder forever. I may have to restart mine, just a minute, depending. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. It's just one bridge too far for the program. I don't know. It's weird. But I can go back right where I was. This is nice. Give it a second here. Okay. Okay. Where was I? Sound effects. Some of those will be better for audio. You may not want to use them at all. They're kind of extreme. Depends. Okay. Next up, well, first off, any questions? Any questions or concerns? Even just a chat? Okay, we're gonna look at transitions now. Like transitions lenses. Check it out. Like I like how she's doing like a little dance here. All right, you can do silly stuff like that. It's fun. Transitions go in between clips, and everything down here I'm going to call a clip, even if it's a photo. It's still a clip. So transitions, you bring them up. There's a menu here. It's the same place you were getting your media up at the top. And there's one called transitions, and up there, you can drag and drop these down, and they live in between any of the files. So you can actually see what they do. You get a little preview up here. There's two photos, and it goes from one to the next. But you can apply these to anything, video or film. And I feel like I know they're audio transitions in Final Cut. So you want to aim right for the little black vertical bars in between. So let's take a look at what it would look like. It would look like this, right? Now, get some options in there. If you double click on them, you can make them longer, but bear in mind, you can only make them as long as your clip. See, didn't have enough length to really work with that. Maybe if I put it here, I can make it longer. Well, thing is, I think I do have enough media available, okay? There we go. It was thinking it was 5 minutes. Yeah, see how I slowed it down? Make sure it says seconds, though. If I just put in 5, well, it took it that time. Maybe I thought it was... What about you guys? Is it doing it okay? Yeah. Got a lot of different types, so have fun with them. You don't have to have a transition, but it keeps it for going, you know, instantly to the next clip, if you do not wish that. Okay. So those are transitions. Let's talk about backgrounds. First thing we need to do, let's go over here to My Media. Go back here. And I want you guys to drop down this cherry blossom, and I want you guys to put it kind of somewhere on your timeline, kind of sort of towards the end maybe. And you see where the black is? That anytime you see solid black like that, that is going to register as a transparency on your footage. So you could actually put something behind that, I believe. Let me attempt this. Or rather, you would put the tree on top. Sorry. My mistake. Put the tree on top of some of the footage. Drag it and put it above it. Do you see how it's showing through the black? You guys get that effect too? You'll get that with text. So you'll notice under the titles menu, see how they all have black behind them for the most part? Not all of them, but most of them do. All right? That's see-through. You're going to see right through that. Okay? You can also pull the background down. So that's kind of what we want to do. Let's actually put this in the front. Red, that's a Japanese color. Rising sun, the red sun. And I don't know what this world map thing is. Well, I do know what it is. It's an Apple thing where it takes the data about where your picture was taken, geolocation, and you can have a little map bounce around if you wish. As you can see, they got a little carried away with that. I mean, like 1 or 2 would have been cool, but okay. I'm such a critic. Now I'm going to put my cherry blossom over top of this red background so it's not messing up any of my film. And the cherry also has a Ken Burns effect going on. I'm okay with that. All right, so that's a way you can put different things in, almost like a cardboard cutout. Any file you can save a transparency on, you can do this with. Backgrounds are also good to put text on. Let's take a look at that. Titles. Very important. Just kind of thumb over them, you'll see what they do. Some of them are animated, some of them are not so animated. Some of them just kind of pop up and then disappear. Just hover your mouse over them and see what you think. So say I like this one, it's nice and big. I'm going to drag it down onto the timeline, and it's going to appear as a purple box. I can lengthen how long it's going to be out. I can do that for most titles. All right. And I can also do some editing to that title. So I'm going to select the title, and I've got all these choices grayed out, except I've got a new one with a T on it. Does everybody see that? The T? I want you to look over the top right in your viewer. Do you see the T? Mm-hmm. Click on that. Those are all your text options. Doesn't give you a ton, but it gives you some. So first of all, you could type that in. But although I can see the white, especially with the drop shadow that it's automatically generating, it doesn't look bad. But I think maybe black would show up better. So I want to highlight my text, and I want to go up here to the square, and I want to click it, and I want to make it black. Let's see how that looks. Let's try blue. You can really pick any color in the world that you might want. That's pretty good. Other things you can do to the text, you know, you can change the font. You can change the font size. You can change the orientation of the text. Sometimes you can bold, italicize, or outline. I like the outline a lot. Although I think it's in iMovie you might be forced to make it black. I'm not really sure how you would change the color on that. And then down in here, okay, you can get rid of that. You can move the text around, I think. I think you can. I thought you could. Maybe not. Maybe you're just kind of stuck with it. Really should let you move it though. Yeah, it doesn't let you move it. It's kind of crazy, huh? So you kind of got to go with stuff based on where they're set up here. In Final Cut, you can totally move it, but I keep referring back to Final Cut a lot, I know, because it just gives you so many more options. But it's $500 and iMovie is free, so, you know, that's just kind of the way of it. All right, one of the last things, we're going to look at music. Here. Before we look at music, I want to show you one last thing. Something that you can do on a limited basis in iMovie. I thought. Maybe you can't do it. Yeah, you can. Nice. You can do it. Okay, so here's what I want you guys to do. Grab a photo that you've got in your timeline, and I want you to drag it and drop it on top of a video clip like I just did. So I want you to do this. Drop it right there. And you got several options. You can have them layered. So put your playhead right on top of them. Right? And you've got some options. Cutaway, you can have them superimposed on one another. You can click this little menu here. Green screen and blue screen. It's not going to work for our purposes, but you can get that inside here. Basic green screen. Split screen. You can decide how that works. So you can have two kind of sharing the same position. And then my favorite, picture in picture. Check it out. You can make it big. You may want this, you know?
Can you do a video inside of a video?
I think so.
That could be cool to like almost make a fake FaceTime.
Totally. I'm going to try it. Yeah, I think you can. And I'm sure you guys have seen these on YouTube and stuff. People do that. So it's this first little option here that pops up when you stack them. And yeah, you can do it. See? Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty cool. Any questions so far? We're getting really close to the end. Music. Let's see. Yeah, basically music, and we're done. And you know, finalizing it and sharing it. Okay, so for music, let's go up. Normally audio would be here. We actually don't have any audio content, so let's review browsing and importing, and we'll get some content in here, okay? So click the little down button. That's the import window. So this little down button up here, top left corner. Excuse me. The throat gets dry. All the talking. And, okay. Up here in the top left, iMovie Basics. Let's go back to DS Class. Let's go up one folder. And let's go down to where are we going to have some audio content? Give me a second. I'll find something. GarageBand?
Oh, hey, found my folder.
You can use yours. Yep. Let's see. Okay. Can everybody see GarageBand folder in there? It's in the DS Class folder. There's a GarageBand folder. You got Stairway to Heaven and Jimmy Buffett. I'm going to use Stairway to Heaven because I don't really like Jimmy Buffett much. And just import that. If anybody needs any help, let me know. 8 minutes, wow. That was a long song. And it's separating it out, which is interesting. There you go. Yeah, as long as you got some audio. Did anyone need any help getting audio? All right, take that as a no. So go down to the audio that you just brought in. It should be green. You guessed it. Click and drag it down in there. So now right? Now, a couple things I want to show you that you can do in the audio. Let me mute this real quick. Of course, you can control your volume, all right? Now, y'all know that yellow and red is not good, okay? These teenagers, they come in, use the audio booth, and they crank it up all the way. Not smart. Not helping you at all. You don't ever want to see the red, if you can help it, okay? Never. Okay, I'm going to adjust the length of my song to fit the movie. Now, your music, you got, again, if you look up in the top right while you have your audio clip, the green selected. Obviously, some of these visual ones aren't going to apply, but you got sound. Okay, you can mess with the audio a little bit, get a few choices. You can do background noise reduction. You can kind of clean it up a little bit if you want to. You can affect the speed. You can have people talk slow. You can do all that stuff. You can also add a filter if you wish. I'm not going to do that right now. And let me show you one other cool thing that you can do. Now, in Final Cut, you can go in and you can do all this manually, piece by piece. It's intricate, complicated. But down here, I want you to look on the audio clip on the at the beginning and the end. There, you should see these two little bullseye circles, these little dots. Do you see those? Right here. Everybody see that right there? It's hard to grab them, but if you can grab those and pull them left or right, they make these nice little fade in, fade outs for you. So you don't have to do that manually. So I'll let you listen to what it sounds like here at the beginning. It's just sort of like a slowly builds in the sound. You guys get it, right? It can get, yeah, it makes the sound everywhere you go. So let's look at some preferences. So if you go up to, that's basically it. And you can cut these and rearrange these just the same as video or photo. Okay, same. If you go up to iMovie preferences, you can look at a couple of different options. So you don't have to have it do Ken Burns on everything. If you just do fit, then it will do that automatically. You can tell it how long you want your photos to be by default, how long your transitions to be by default. Let's see. You can delete render files to save space. You're probably not going to need to do that anytime soon. So those are your prefs. Trying to think of anything I might have forgotten. I don't think I have. So, at the end, a couple things you want to do. One thing you want to make sure of whenever you're working in a movie project, I like to zoom out, and it might be kind of hard. Yeah, it's going to be kind of hard for it to do in iMovie. But you want to make sure you don't have anything living out here beyond, you know, your completed movie that you don't want. You just want everything nice and justified to the left. Okay? And when we export something, it's going to export everything. Not just a piece, but the whole movie that you have. All right? So a couple different ways to share. There's a button in the top right corner with a little up arrow there. That's a share button. You can share it that way. You can also go to File, Share. You get the same options. You can share it to the theater. I don't usually do that. It's kind of silly. It just saves it inside your Final Cut library. But you're saving it somewhere anyway, so what's the point? Email, it might be kind of big to email. You can send it to iTunes. You can send it straight to YouTube. You're gonna get prompted to sign in and everything. You can send it straight to Facebook. Again, you're gonna have to sign into your Facebook or your Vimeo. Image, I'm not even sure what that's gonna do because it's a movie. I'll have to look that up. File is your typical default way to cook this cake. All right, so you've got it all wrapped up. It's time to cook it. We're gonna hit File, and I just want to go over a few of these options with you. I'm not sure why it's saying it's 10 seconds long. Something's wrong here. There we go. Okay. Make sure you move your playhead all the way to the beginning. So if you haven't done that, hit cancel. Move your playhead all the way to the beginning. The duration time here should be the same as the duration time here. It's also going to tell you the estimated size the file is going to turn into. In this case, it's fairly big for, well, 2 minutes. You can do things to reduce the file size later if you need to. So you can pop in a title if you want, or a description. This is the title here. Japan Fair. And then you can put in a description here. You can put in tags. Again, this is more for searching through your computer or people finding you on YouTube or Facebook or what have you, for tags. Format, you probably want to do video and audio, unless you don't want video. Resolution, you guys know that, right? Higher the better, higher the bigger. Quality, I turn it up to ProRes, it just got 9 times as big. So I'm just going to say high. So I don't think it'll make a huge difference. I don't ever really mess with the compression settings. Then when you hit next, you're basically ready to save it. You get another chance to title it, and you get to decide where it goes. I throw everything on the desktop. That's my way. You don't have to be like me, but here's the thing. I'm going to start telling this to everybody because it's a problem in our society these days, okay? It really is. In digital society, this has become a huge problem. Remember 2 things. If you ever want to find your file again, I need you to remember one of 2 things or both if possible. Remember what you named it and remember where you saved it. The reason why is because I don't know those things. People come to me, they're like, where's my file? Where's my file? How am I supposed to know where your file is? You guys have to know where your file is. So this is where you get to decide. You can click that down arrow. You can go in here. File management, y'all. It's important. I am not an organized person at all. I lose my files all the time too, but I'm just trying to help y'all out. Remember where your file is. Go ahead and hit save. And now our cake is baking. And this little symbol up here in the top right gives us an estimate of how long it's going to take to cook, saying about 3 minutes. If you don't want to mess with stuff while this is happening, just let it be. Let it do its thing. The thing about the digital cake batter is that you can make infinite cakes and infinite different kind of cakes. So say we cook it, we look at it, something's wrong, we still got it right here. We can go back and fix whatever we need to fix, change whatever we need to change. And that's it, folks. As Porky Pig said, that's all, folks. Questions? I guess they forgot I had class. It's okay. They'll have to call back. Anybody think of anything at all? I'm here for you. All right, here's the deal. Do you guys see? I want you to look down in the lower right corner while your movies are being formed.